recipe today, but I'm going to show you some things. So I know that tahini might have been hard for some of you to get, but it's a great thing to have in the house just to add a small amount into a whole lot of things to make great salads, dressings and dressings to coat some vegetables just to make things a bit more interesting for you. Is the pot that you've got on with your chicken, if you can put that straight away onto a high heat. So put it on the highest heat you can. And another one, the reason why I decided to do a recipe with poached chicken in it is because poached chicken is a great thing for you to have in the fridge, ready to make lunches, snacks and dinner at last minute. So it's the same with knowing how to boil an egg properly. I know it sounds ridiculous, but if you've got those things in the fridge, it can, I mean, Em of course will speak more about that, but it's great to know how to do those things so you're less likely to snack on crap. So we've got that on, and the next thing we'll do is, before we'll get Em to talk to you, is the potatoes that you peeled. So just pop those on your board. Cooking is all about texture, combining flavors, and also the way it looks. So even though it looks really simple, if I just gave you these recipes, these ingredients, you'd probably come up with something very similar, but you might not immediately think to make it look pretty. And I know that sounds dumb, but making food look beautiful makes the whole experience of it more enjoyable. And especially if you're going to, not that you can cook for anybody else at the moment, unless you live with someone, but when you have people over, just having some of these ingredients in the cupboard and being able to make a delicious and beautiful looking meal with healthy ingredients is really a valuable thing to be able to do, I think. What we'll do is with these potatoes, we're making wedges. So we'll cut them in half, then we'll cut every half. I don't know how big all your potatoes are, but you want to cut wedges about that big and try to make them as even as you can. So because the reason why you want to make them even is you want them all to cook at the same rate and the same pace. So cut them all like that and then put them in your second pot.
Before it's a nice light meal, but it also provides a really good amount of protein, and the tahini provides some really healthy fats for you as well. Something to be aware of with tahini, as delicious as it is, use it in a similar way that you would approach avocado, for example. So avocado, it's super healthy for you, but a serve of avo is a quarter of an avocado if it's like a medium avocado. So the same with tahini. Okay, so this recipe has 4 tablespoons of tahini in it and it serves 4 people. So you would look at, say, 1 tablespoon for 1 person. Okay, so just to be aware of that. It is healthy fat, but just to not go overboard with it in terms of what you're adding it to.
The potatoes, if you could cover them just in cold water and put them on the heat as well.
The chicken's boiling, is that all right?
Say that again.
My chicken's boiling.
Okay, turn it right, if it's already boiling, turn it right down to a really soft simmer. And then I am going to time it for you. And we're going to cook that for 8 minutes on the softest simmer. And Jiva, that's when the baking paper comes in.
Yeah.
So when you put this on top, when it's at a simmer, you want it to keep the chicken under the water. So scrunch it up and pop it flat on your chicken water.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, and we call in cooking terminology, that's called a cartouche. So it just means a cover.
Ooh, I like that.
And it just means that it's keeping everything under the water and it's keeping all the heat in. So yeah, once your chicken has come to the heat, put your cartouche on. Shimi, are you okay there? Is yours come up to the heat?
Yeah, I'm good. Yep, I'm good.
Great. So everybody should have their chicken on and their potatoes on the heat.
Yeah.
Okay.
Should that be with the lid?
The potatoes, you can put the lid on until they get up to temperature, and then as soon as they get to the boil, take the lid off.
Okay.
Tahini is extremely thick,
Yeah.
so I don't add, if I was cooking for anything other than athletes or people with health issues who can't have too much fat, I would add oil to it. I'd probably make it extremely thick. But when I'm cooking for athletes, I use the thinning agent as water, and it's actually delicious. It makes no difference. I think you don't need to add more fat to it. So for every portion you want to make, add 1 tablespoon of tahini.
Was that teaspoon or tablespoon?
Tablespoon.
Thank you.
So if you're making 4 portions today, let me look at my recipe. You'd be adding 1 tablespoon of either honey or maple syrup. So if you're only making a portion for 1 or for 2, just add a portion of that. So just a squirt of honey, and that just sweetens it up. Tahini is quite, it's got a slightly bitter taste, and that's why I got you to buy the hulled tahini. And what the hulled means is that the outer shell of the sesame seed or the kernel has been taken off. The one that is unhulled still has the kernel, and that's even more bitter again. So the hulled one is really creamy and delicious. The unhulled has a more bitter taste. So a little squirt of honey, or if you're making 4 portions, add 1 tablespoon. And you'll see as soon as you add the honey, it really thickens up again. Add a good pinch of salt. And then with the kettle that you boiled, we'll start with 1 tablespoon of boiling water and just give it a stir. It'll really thicken up at first, but then it will really slacken. You want to keep adding water until it's a beautiful runny texture. Soft mine is.
There you go.
Delish.
I like that.
How long does it keep? Can you make it as a sauce and then keep it?
I reckon 4 days in the fridge. Yeah. Yeah, what do you reckon, Rob? Who do you reckon is got the best technique so far?
It's hard to tell because you can't see them actually working it. Basically, yeah, you only get to see them.
We only get to see the top of Shing's head, by the way. So we have no idea what's going on under that.
Yeah.
Has everybody's chicken come to the boil and you've turned it down?
Yes.
And
Mine is now.
You got some big breasts there, Tilly.
I do. I made enough for 2 nights, but it's just me, so I don't know why I did that.
But it's also good to have that chicken there, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, so something like poached chicken, you could easily, if you've got leftover from your meal, just keep it in the fridge. You could make it into, I suppose it's not necessarily a snack, but a good sandwich filling, or into other salads as well. But in terms of snacking, boiled eggs are perfect to have in the fridge. And you can boil them, I think we said sort of 3 days ahead, Ange.
Yeah.
So that's something really easy to have. But and I think if Ange has time, I think she's going to show you how to make a really basic hummus with your tahini and chickpeas, and that's also a great snack to have just with some veggie sticks or some multigrain crackers. So snacks don't have to be difficult. Just something simple and easy, containing some healthy protein and fats as well, and depending on whether it's game day or not, some carbohydrate, or even a training day. So just keep it really simple and try not to overthink it. It doesn't always have to be something fancy that you've made and put into, put a heap of effort into.
potatoes are boiling, do we take the lid off and turn
Turn
it down?
them right down and just test them every now and then, Maddie, to see if they're done. Like, you don't want to overcook them, you just want to cook them. So everybody should just give their potatoes a little, with the end of a knife, just pop it in. If it goes in with no resistance, they're ready and you should drain them off. So Jiva, your 8 minutes is up. Turn your chicken off and just leave it in the hot water. So from whenever your chicken started boiling and you turned it down, you want roughly 8 minutes. I set another timer for 8 minutes and I've done that.
Okay.
And I leave it in that water for 8 minutes.
Okay then.
Another 8 minutes. So whatever residual cooking it needs to do will happen without having to have that aggressive heat on it. So with your capers, get out a couple of tablespoons and put them in a small bowl. Did you mostly buy ones are they in liquid or in salt?
Oh,
Liquid.
liquid.
Liquid, yeah. So you really want to wash that liquid off. It's pretty foul. So what I do is I just put hot water on it. So the water from the kettle, I'll just leave them sitting there for a couple of minutes.
How many capers?
Yeah. Are you serving one or two people?
Two.
Two. Do 2 tablespoons, 2 small tablespoons.
Thank you.
So you should all have your iceberg with the outer horrible leaves taken off and just rinsed your iceberg under the water. You don't just want massive pieces of iceberg on it. What I do is I chop it in half, and then that little bit of a core there, I just cut that out like that. You don't really want to eat that, it's quite bitter. So I would probably serve, I love iceberg, so I would probably eat that whole half myself, but a portion would normally be about 1/4 of an iceberg. And then what we want to do is we just want to medium thick slices. So we're looking for that sort of texture. And you can just put those in a bowl. How's everybody's potatoes going?
Yeah.
Hard.
They're like soft. There's a few, I've just taken them off the heat.
Take them off the heat, yeah. And then once they're cooked, just drain them through a sieve. So chopping skills, Jiva. So everybody should have their chicken just sitting resting, not with the heat on.
Still in the water.
Still in the water.
Yeah.
Their potatoes probably almost cooked.
Yep.
And their iceberg lettuce shredded, and their tahini dressing made. Yeah. And then, and then we've got our capers in water.
Yeah.
Are you right, Shimmy? So what we want to do is those capers, do you want to just drain them through a little sieve? Just get rid of the water.
And what did you say we do once the 8 minutes is done?
We're going, once the 8 minutes are boiled, turn the heat off and leave them in the water for another 8 minutes. Your chicken should be ready. So if you just want to get a pair of tongs, take one out and just cut it like, I don't care if this is a no-no, chef world, cut it to see if it's cooked. You just want to make sure your chicken is cooked. So Shimmy, you might want to do the same thing. Make sure it's cooked. If it's not, put it back in the hot water and leave it there for another 3 or 4 minutes. But my chicken is cooked, so I'm going to drain it off. Yep, drain it off and put it on a plate to cool down a bit.
Okay.
Perfect. And you can put those aside ready for service. Is that ready, Jiva?
Yes.
Oh, great. So just leave them to the side for them to cool a bit. So what we all should now have is potatoes and chicken cooling a bit. The capers drained, the tahini dressing and the iceberg lettuce ready.
Yeah.
Or avocado. Now these, you'll probably have found the different variety of avocados at the moment. The shepherd ones with the smoother skin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Hass ones with the rough skin, they're out of season at the moment. So these ones I think are in season from February to the end of May. The Hass ones won't be in season for a while.
Good avo.
Yeah, a good avo. So if you halve it, now you'll find with the shepherd ones, they're much harder to peel with your fingers. If you can, try to peel the skin off. If you can't, you can try to scoop it out in one foul swoop with a spoon. Otherwise, just peel it.
Voila! I got mine.
Yeah, Shimmy.
Easy to come off, so I was like,
Oh,
peel it real quick.
Is in half or a whole one?
well, it depends how many people are you serving, Jim. It's a quarter of an avocado per serve.
I like avocado. I'll put it all in.
Yeah.
I have a bone to pick with someone in my house who ate my ripe avocado this morning on their toast.
Oh no!
Is that person not in the class at the moment but should be?
Correct.
Yeah. With whatever plate, or if you wanted to serve it for lots of people, you could put it on a big platter, but just get your plate that you want to serve it on and put a portion of iceberg lettuce on the bottom.
Did we like cut the avo or just put it there?
Just leave it there for now.
Okay.
So your iceberg lettuce is on your plate, like such. Just a serve of iceberg. So you just want to cut some discs of chicken, so about that thick, and just place it around your plate. So sort of dig
How
it
thick, Angie? How thick?
about that thick,
Okay then.
and just sort of place it in and around the iceberg lettuce.
Yeah, it is.
So once you've done that, your potatoes, so as Em said, about this one medium potato per portion, and then pop that through again. So what you want to do is you don't want to just plop it on top so you don't see the beautiful iceberg, but you sort of place it around like that.
Is that with the potato too, did you say?
With the potato, yep. So at the moment you should have the iceberg, the potato, the chicken.
So big.
And then with your avocado, if you do the same, if you just chop it into long wedges like this, and just pop it around the plate. So, I mean, apart from Jimmy's plate,
It's a small plate, okay?
you sort of want the avocado to look the same as the potato.
Okay.
You go to your sauce. Now your sauce might have even thickened up a little bit since you saw it last. Just give it a stir just to make sure it's still. If you're not sure of that really intense taste, add some more honey.
Okay.
And add a bit more salt.
How much honey are we talking? Oh, the entire bottle.
Just add like a teaspoon. But what I guess what cooking do is about all the flavors working together. So when you taste it with the creamy avocado,
Okay.
you'll love it.
I'm gonna trust you.
Trust
Oh,
me.
yum. Ooh.
Yeah, I love it.
Then you just want to drizzle this over your salad.
Oh, we're drizzling it now.
Drizzling it.
Drizzle it.
Time.
You scatter over your capers.
Oh, the capers.
Papers.
So the capers or the olives, whatever you've decided to use. So the capers add that delicious salt. Good, Tilly.
Oh, thank you.
Billy, where's yours?
So, Shim, if you don't like that taste so much, You can just use a really simple olive oil and lemon juice dressing.
Photo. Hold up, Dora, hold up.
I was
No
like, my
papers.
arm's getting sore.
Pardon?
Iceberg lettuce, potato, tahini dressing.
Oh, here she comes.
Here she
Guess
comes.
the ingredients, Cass. Let's see.
Here we go.
Terrifying. I've never felt so judged.
Oh yeah.
Probably would have been better with avocado.
If there's no avocado, obviously would have made it.
All right then, girls. I'll speak to you soon.
Thanks,
Thanks, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Good job.
Guys.
Bye.
See you soon.